It's getting more real, right? It's getting more real. Thank you very much, Judge Mwepe, for that presentation, eloquently done, very rich in its own, and you telling us to peep into the history, and we will find the richness. I think I forgot to tell you one thing again. I'll keep reminding myself, and in the process, disseminating that information. I forgot to warn you that the lineup for the conference is rich. It's rich with servants of this country, and true servants, should I dare say. The Honorable Judge just told you now that it's the first time that he is out of his house this week. And he could not miss the opportunity to come and reflect and answer this question for us and give us insights on how South Africa can overcome its obstacles. We thank you very much, Judge Mwepe, for that selflessness, and we pray for more strength to you. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I never, exactly. Read the book. I thought I never run out of words, but I will surely read the book, Judge. You have challenged us in so many ways. You have said to us we have abandoned the values that we had, the values that we espoused and the values that brought us the democracy. In that, I had two things. I had you reminding us that we have been victorious in the past. And we were victorious when we had nothing. All that we had, we put together for the common goal of obtaining our freedom. And I quickly went into just to check. I checked the facts quickly and just to make sure that I will be on point. I audit. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. And I realized that we have 9th of August, where the women of this country came together for the same common purpose, all committed, honestly committed to the cause of obtaining freedom. We have June 16, where we also witnessed honest, committed children who had the same cause, who had the same honest commitment to the cause to obtain freedom. And that, those two said to me, the judge is onto something here. We had it all before we had it. And we lost it all at the point that we had it. And I think, I'm not going to say much. Let's read the book. Let's read the book. But we thank you very much for that challenge, Honorable Judge. You are correct that you asked that question quite a number of times, and we had made provision in the time allocated so that you can repeat it. Why did so few whites manage to put down so many black and whites for so long? It beats my mind. All right. I think the answer to it, it's also very important. Go read the book. and the honest commitment to the cause. I think that launches us very nicely. I think you would have heard when we started, I indicated that there were some glitches with people arriving on time due to the normal challenges that we have, load shedding, etc. And I did indicate that I have been given the powers to bend here and there the program. And I'm going to use that card now. I'm going to start now, and it's not the last time. So we will jump on to the next speaker, because the next speaker is ready. And perhaps let me also indicate to you that this is a hybrid session. And as a hybrid session, we also now going to be going into the other realm, the realm of technology, where our next speaker is going to take us through their presentation, through online, and that would be none other than our own, again a great servant, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma. She needs no introduction. She's the Honorable Minister of Corporate Governance and Traditional Affairs. And she will be talking to us about how us as professionals can contribute towards good administration and can assist the state, both the departments, the state entities, the municipalities, to achieve clean audit, but not only clean audit, as the President has indicated, clean audit that enhances good service delivery and good governance, and thereby impacting positively on the lives of the citizens. At this point, I will hand over to Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma for her presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Program Director, Chief Justice Mukheng, Judge Bernard Ngwape, in your capacity as the Tax Ombudsman, Deputy Auditor General, President of SAIGA, Philip Rakwale, SAIGA Council members and the EXCO, members of SAIGA, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for the invitation to address this auspicious conference, now on its 34th year. Indeed, throughout its life, the Southern African Institute of Government Auditors has faced its own transformational challenges. Nonetheless, without a doubt, the institution and its professionals have been at the forefront of healing the divisions of the past and the establishment of a society based on democratic values, social justice, and fundamental human rights, as anticipated by our Constitution. We believe you and your professionals to be the first line of defense as we accelerate action towards improving the quality of life and the freedoms experienced by the people so that they can reach their full potential. I'm sorry that I have to join you virtually, but it's because I'm answering questions in Parliament this afternoon. I would have loved to be there physically. The conference is also hosted during our Heritage Month, thus allowing us to also trace our footsteps to better understand where we are and where we anticipate we will be. You have understandably asked us to give particular emphasis on the local sphere of government, since it is the closest sphere to the people and the vehicle by which we can truly break down barriers of division, create a country where there is neither whites nor blacks, haves and have-nots, just South Africans, free and united in their diversity. as anticipated by the late President O.R. Tambo. We refer to you as the first line of defense in meeting these objectives because the research has proven that strong internal controls are essential deterrents to curbing corruption and leakages. All of these rob the people of essential services and their deserved developmental outcomes. For instance, a 2020 report by the Dlamini-Zuma Institute on combating corruption in local government in the Western Cape shows that poor control environment characterized by the absence of appropriate checks and balances increases opportunities for corruption and maladministration. Conversely, improved internal controls enable some municipalities to pick up and address fraudulent activities early instead of relying on external auditors and investigators. In the wise words of the former governor of the Reserve Bank of India, Raghuram Rajan, strong government doesn't mean simply military power or an efficient intelligence apparatus. Instead, it should mean effective, fair administration. So since attaining democracy, we've done a lot of work in implementing transparent systems that will ensure that the country's resources are utilized in a manner that is transparent and accountable to our citizens. We have also established institutions such as the Auditor General's Office and the Treasuries to ensure good governance and accountability. Collaborating with these institutions, we are slowly turning the corner in reversing the audit outcomes without further compromising service delivery and meeting the aspirations of the communities. Therefore, we can say in the past financial year, 56% of the municipalities received unqualified opinion with findings, and 18% with no findings. So this is an improvement from the last audit, but of course, a lot more still needs to be done. We therefore call on professionals like yourselves in your individual capacities and through professional bodies such as yours to work with us in ensuring that government auditors in all municipalities assist municipal management to achieve their objectives as set out in the Reconstruction and Development Program, the Constitution, and the White Paper on Local Government, amongst others. This will in part require the evaluation of risk management, control and governance processes. It will require proactive and developmental auditing, which can help the municipalities to plan, implement, and conduct performance assurance. Thus, your role, in my view, should extend beyond being a referee, but you should also become a coach who provides advisory services in our communities. The advisory services you are to offer must also go beyond financial and budgetary considerations, but must also contribute towards creating a better life for all citizens. Therefore, I'm hoping that this conference will help us to understand how we can get clean audits that translate into an improved life of local communities. So the two must go hand in hand. Perhaps I should start by stating what we mean when we say we must create a better life for all. To build a better life for everyone in this country requires us to develop a clear plan. We have to harness our natural and human resources in ways that will ensure that our economy grows and creates opportunities for all South Africans. We must invest in developing our resources, and our most precious resource is our people. So it's important to invest in them, their education and skilling, but also in their health and so on. And this also includes that we must have more quality jobs, must have access to land, because land is needed for everything. We stand on it, we do business, social, schooling, whatever we do, whatever human endeavor, it's done on land. Even if we have to fly, we still start on land. So land is important for all of us. Housing, water, electricity, telecommunication, transport, a clean and healthy environment, nutrition, healthcare, and social welfare. All these are the things that will create a better life for all. So your services must also unlock the potential and inclusion of individuals so that we may, in the end, have prosperous, resilient, peaceful, cohesive, connected, non-sexist, non-racist, non-racial, and climate-smart communities. It goes without saying that the transformation of the economy and the development of the economy is critical to this end. The government takes responsibility for the social, and economic development of our country. The Constitution of South Africa sets the rules for how government works to improve efficiency and effectiveness of its policies. The national, provincial, and local spheres of government, which are distinct, interrelated, and interdependent, must work together as envisaged in the Constitution to improve the material conditions of the people, especially at the local sphere, which is closest to the people and delivers services that people need on a daily basis. Nobody lives outside the local government space. Nothing happens outside this space. Therefore, the local government is actually the center of the universe of government and communities. Based on the framework provided by the Constitution on ideal communities, are spaces where everyone can live and can reach their full potential. Therefore, the ultimate test of achieving an ideal local community is when citizens can attest that they have a decent living environment, human settlements that are resilient and can withstand disasters and calamities with minimal damage or loss of lives. They can enjoy safety for themselves, but particularly for women and children, can easily access education, skills development, health and recreation facilities, have access to clean water, dignified sanitation, quality transport, consistent energy and electricity, road networks, as well as information communication and technology, ICT services. When they can attest that they are part of the fourth industrial revolution and have access to digitalization and ubiquitous broadband connectivity, are part of a vibrant economy, creating quality jobs, sustainable livelihoods, and promoting inclusiveness. And have food security, where basics such as fruit, vegetables, warm bread can be sourced locally. Where they can bank locally in local and cooperative banks, where money circulates, at least in the community once before it leaves. And these are not exhaustive, but examples of what we can say that you are living in an ideal community. And it must be a community that people are able to visit. And when they do visit that community, they would like to be back. And to get to that state, we believe that the state capacity must be developed to meet and facilitate for the realization of the aspiration of the people. And of course, municipalities who will deliver those communities must have qualified, skilled, competent civil servants in the administration. There must be a clear delineation between the political and administrative leadership roles. There must be competent leadership, transparency and accountability. There must be functional councils and oversight structures that meet regularly, regular citizen engagements. There must be low vacancy rates. And when the vacancy arises, they must be filled timelessly with qualified, competent, and experienced personnel. Continuity in the administration is important. Good financial and administrative management resulting in positive audit outcomes. Institutionalized and upscaled local economic development units, and planning coordination through the district development model and underpinned by credible integrated developmental plans and innovation. To get to this ideal state, we must acknowledge that we do not have the monopoly of ideas as government. Therefore, we must work with and in partnership with our communities and all the stakeholders. It is critical to maintain a dynamic communication so that everything puts the citizens at the center, and it's also locally driven. Working towards ensuring ideal communities will require a whole of government approach and a whole of society approach. It will require policy coherence at different levels of government. It is for this reason that we continue to implement the district development model. The model is anchored on Section 47 of the Intergovernmental Relations Framework Act number 13 of 2005 and identifies metros and district spaces as the most appropriate levels for intergovernmental coordination and social compacting. It is aimed at facilitating joint planning, implementation, and monitoring of government's development programs. Although each sphere, sector, or entity has its distinct constitutional powers, functions, and responsibilities, must cooperate and undertake collaborative planning, budgeting, and implementation processes, converging developmental efforts at the district or metro level. This joint work should culminate in the formulation and implementation of one plan. We trust that you will help us to ensure that the evaluation and auditing of these plans outcome-based, and it measures the impact of their implementation on communities. Program Director, let me speak a little bit about what we are doing to improve the governance at local government. For our part, we've allocated 6.6 billion for the period 2020-2021 to 2022-2023 to support capacity building in municipalities to improve financial management. Of course, we are working with other departments like Treasury and so on. Through the insertion of Section 79A into the Structures Amendment Act, the establishment of Municipal Public Accounts Committees, MPACs, is assured. This also means municipal office bearers, such as mayors, deputy mayors, whips, members of EXCO or mayoral committees, officials are not allowed to be members of MPAC. This is to ensure transparency and effective oversight and accountability over council matters. The responsibilities of MPACs have been aligned to the relevant provisions of the Municipal Finance Management Act, and thereby requiring this committee to review various reports and to make recommendations to the Municipal Council. We welcome the fact that post the local government election that were held on the 1st of November 2021, more than 80% of municipalities have established their MPACs according to the law. But of course, we regret that not 100% have done so. And we are pushing that all of them should do so as soon as possible. It is our hope that you too will support the MPACs as they review the reports from the Auditor General, audit committees, and management committee, as well as develop and implement audit action plans, review internal audit reports, and make recommendations to council, initiate and develop the oversight reports on annual reports, and drive their own initiatives to investigate and report to council on any matter affecting the municipality. We have, since the establishment of MPACs, worked closely with various stakeholders to provide training to the MPAC members. We are confident that this is one of the interventions that will improve internal audit function, government structures in general at local government level. Program Director, African wisdom says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We therefore take this opportunity to invite you to join us in the district development model journey. The district development seeks to maximize on the limited resources available by mobilizing all of government and all of society behind a single localized and energized plan, as well as budget for each of the 52 districts and metro spaces in South Africa. The DDM is supposed to enable the local implementation of national development plans, national special development frameworks, integrated urban development frameworks, and the medium-term strategic framework by setting common objectives and targets across all sectors, including the private sector. This all of government and society approach, providing a method by which all three spheres of government and state entities work in unison in an impact-orientated way, where there is higher performance and accountability for coherent and effective service delivery and development outcomes. Already, we have convened provincial and district development teams who are developing one plans for their spaces. 4 plans are still outstanding. The ones that we have received are still being quality checked. And we also want to ensure that they have also they've also set realistic long-term plans and community participation. Whereas we are busy quality assuring the plans, we would appreciate an auditor's view and an auditor's eye. We would also appreciate the participation of SAIGA in the National DDM steering committees once we set them up. In the meantime, we would encourage your participation in the provincial and district teams, which have in some localities begun to unlock opportunities and address the immediate needs of communities. One such project is the Eastern Seaboard Development, which is located in the 4 districts of Alfred Nzo, Artambo, Erikwala, and Ugu, in the Eastern Cape and KZN. By studying the endowments and comparative advantages, which include the people, the weather, the pristine coastline, fertile land, together with the Minister of Agriculture, Land and Rural Development, we have been able to declare the area as a region for purposes of development. This will enable us to unlock the potential and economy of the long underdeveloped area. This area is totally underdeveloped. Between Buffalo City and Durban, there's hardly any real town or city. And yet, it is one of the most beautiful areas and has a long history in our own struggle for freedom, has a lot of our icons coming from there. So it has a huge potential. We have also begun to identify potential economic and skills development projects, which includes collaborations and partnerships with universities, SITAs, and TVET colleges, operational in the 2 host provinces, to contribute towards the skills revolution for the area. And we also have started on 3 catalytic projects, which include cannabis and hemp projects, small ports and harbors, and the long outstanding Umzimvubu water project. But we hope to develop that Eastern Seaboard in a polycentric manner. These are just the initial projects. There's a lot more coming because it has a huge potential for tourism. It has potential for airports, for harbors, also for renewable energy. So we look forward to working with all of you. The Eastern Seaboard Development has a multi-sphere task team with various work streams, including one on financing and fundraising. Already the teams have interacted with potential partners and funders and undertaken some benchmarking visits. We take this opportunity to also invite SAIGA into the team and request that you assist us as we turn our potential initiatives into bankable projects. Program Director, Our communities cannot afford to wait until we realize our long-term objectives. We also need to address our immediate challenges to meet those longer-term objectives and aspirations of the people. Obvious areas we have already referred to with respect to supporting the municipalities with planning and budgeting. Already some of your members are already doing well in their respective institutions and municipalities. In supporting municipalities in budgeting, special attention ought to be paid to gender responsive budgeting, which recognizes that the way in which resources are raised or allocated has implications as the policies or programs which are funded impact differently on women and men. However, gender inequalities are enmeshed in institutional practices, including budgetary processes. This is one of the main reasons to talk about gender diversity in public finance and public policy. Gender responsive budgeting is a question both of social and economic justice and of more effective public resource management. By improving our understanding of the structures that contribute to different experiences for women and men and the unequal social and economic outcomes that they create, policy making and the allocation of public resources can be transformed to reorientate outcomes more equally. Therefore, as you conduct your audits, you must make it industry standard to engender every cent budgeted and spent, so we may know how much we intend and we have invested in gender parity. In so doing internally, the public service and private sector will also start paying serious attention to the roles given to women in their respective organizations. For instance, the Deloitte Within Reach report says, despite added focus on women in the financial sector, only 24% of leaders in the financial sector are women. It is projected to grow only by 4% by 2030. Additionally, the Bwasa Women in Leadership of 2021 informs us that although women constitute 62.3% of the overall workforce in the public service, they make up only 43.5% of senior managers and 26.4% of directors general. SAIGA must therefore be found at the forefront of our societal gender struggle, for we will not succeed as a country if only half the team is on the field. Program Director, we must also extend our hand to SAIGA in the hope that they will join our initiatives aimed at supporting local government. These could pay due consideration to strengthening governance and administration through supporting MPECs, supporting the national and provincial departments with monitoring progress with regards to implementation of key policies and regulations, including the local government, municipal staff regulations and guidelines to ensure that appropriately qualified and experienced people are appointed to professionalize the local sphere, because the reality is that our departments are far too small to be able to keep track of all these regulations and policies. Monitoring procurement processes, because although the responsibility belongs to the sphere of government, more than 80% of the law enforcement agencies' investigations pertain to that. Supporting municipalities in developing systems which will curb or end non-revenue losses which have been seen, 84% of the 114 municipalities that are water service providers incurring water distribution losses totaling to 9.82 billion. Since these distribution losses predominantly emanate from both technical losses, including the poor maintenance of water infrastructure, non-technical losses, including illegal connections in the water services distribution processes. We believe that the auditors can help with developing systems and maintenance-driven processes, since our profession is about rigorous inquiry to processes and actions. Realizing efficiencies in the management and trading services as municipalities, we've been struggling with setting tariffs in trading services such as water and electricity, whilst exploring new potential income generation avenues such as renewable energy and ICT. And of course, the billing systems, which have led to frustrations where in some places, such as Likwa and Tobondla, some customers have opted to pay directly to some service authorities such as ESCOM. In other instances, municipalities are not even billing the customers, as highlighted by the Auditor General. We believe that professionals such as yours can assist as with cleaning the relevant data. Already, to address the matters of record management, the department is undertaking records management project in 30 municipalities. Here, the department will assess the state of record management in each of these municipalities. It is our intention to develop implementation plans and assist the municipalities in the implementation, considering the key pillars of record management. We believe we can receive support from your organization in this regard. We also believe we can also partner with you and other institutions and stakeholders in educating communities on the importance of public infrastructure and develop the sense of ownership without condoning the destruction of infrastructure. Timely response and communication by municipalities to unhappy communities will always be very helpful. Program Director, I wish to conclude by reminding this gathering that sound financial management practices are essential to the long-term sustainability of municipalities. They underpin the process of democratic accountability. The municipal manager holds the primary legal accountability for financial management in terms of the MFMA, and together with other senior managers, is responsible for implementation. It is therefore our collective duty to empower the managers and their staff. We must also support the councils in undertaking their oversight roles. This is because local government should be considered everybody's business. Consequently, any failures in the sphere of local government reflect failures of all the spheres. We cannot say local government is failing, but the rest of government is succeeding. No. If local government fails, the rest of government is failing. We therefore look forward to working with you in continuously assessing governance activities as they will identify loopholes and omissions, and thereby advise us on the deployment of relevant and effective internal controls. As we set out to achieve your mandates, we look forward and we look up to you to exemplify to all of us the principles of good governance, selflessness, integrity, objectivity, accountability, openness, honesty, sound leadership, and collaborative work. I thank you and look forward to the results of your conference as it pertains to helping us, especially at the local government level. I also want to give your organization just one more homework. We have decided to have a 21-year review of local government so that we can, instead of looking piecemeal at things that work and those that don't work, things that need to be strengthened, there's also a sense that local government is over-regulated and it makes it difficult to be agile. So we thought we should do a 21-year review so that we can then look holistically at what has happened in the last 21 years and what do we think has worked well, what needs to be tweaked, what needs to be changed. So we look forward to getting from you what you think, what your review of local government, what your 21-year review of local government is. And we'd appreciate to get that input before the end of the calendar year, because we have to complete the report by the end of the financial year. I thank you very much for having invited me. Thank you.